The MPs were summoned from the Easter break purposely for the 5 loan agreements, some of which have been outstanding since last year. The facilities are the $60.6 million as a third additional financing for the Ghana COVID-19 Emergency Preparedness and Response Project, $150 million to finance the West Africa Food Systems Resilience Program, and 170 million euros for the establishment of the Development Bank of Ghana, among others. The minority side argued against the facilities, explaining government should not be borrowing in this crucial time of the economic crisis occasioned by the reckless borrowing.
The Parliament of the Republic of Ghana, represented by its 275 elected MPs, even at this age and time of unprecedented economic difficulty arising out of excessive borrowing, which comes at cost to the Ghanaian taxpayer, the Parliament of Ghana is being called upon to approve a loan amount of $150 million. Mr. Speaker, today, Ghana is not only debt distress. We are currently between 98 to 103% of debt to GDP ratio, of borrowing to the level of 576 billion to 600 billion Ghana cedis. That this House is not minded that there must be a stop to borrowing. There must be. And this House must provide that leadership for the Ghanaian people.
The majority side explained that the facilities are all targeted at specific projects and tasks must be supported.
And is anybody arguing against this? Is anybody arguing against this? That we don't want farmers to be able to access agricultural technologies? Mr. Speaker, it's the reason why I'm saying that I can't understand. For the life of me, the import of those of them who are arguing that we should reject this facility. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that it is crystal clear what is intended to be done with and by this facility. And I believe that we should all rise in unison to support it. If the argument is that Parliament should be positioned to be able to trace and track the disbursement of the amounts, that is our responsibility.
Despite these,
Today's
the
other
House
paper,
approved.
say aye. All against say no. I think the ayes have it.
Komla Kluche, TV3 News, Parliament House, Accra.
Right, so we're going to stay a while longer on this subject. It's one of our big stories for the day. Let's hop on to Zoom now. Economist and financial analyst at the University of Ghana Business School, Professor Lord Mensah, joins us. Prof, thank you very much for your time and good evening to you. So we don't really know the terms of this loan facility, but I do remember that the former President John Mahama had warned his side of the House not to approve loans that were non-concessional. But the challenge here is that we're yet to get this $3 billion from the International Monetary Fund. We've got emergencies to attend to. We've got very important items to attend to as a nation. Do we have the luxury of an alternative?
Yeah, good evening and good evening to our viewers. You see, when it comes to borrowing and then the threshold that we've borrowed up to, which the ordinary citizen is bearing the brunt of, our, excessive borrowing, I was thinking this is not a time to go into further, borrowing. You see, when it comes to public sector financial management, there are genuine reasons, and if I say reasons, it could be economic reasons, it could be social reasons why a country will borrow. And there could also be a dubious reasons why a country will borrow. Now, for this particular loans, and especially the one that is going into digital infrastructure improvement, at this time of our debt levels and economic situation, where households are bearing the brunt, a situation where, we've gone to IMF and IMF has putting up, some revenue enhanced measures, which has, and then coupled with inflation, which has reduced, the ordinary household income by more than half, so you receive your salary for 1 month, and you by the time you get to the second week, this salary has finished. I'm not expecting, the government to do further borrowing. The genuine reason that will make government to borrow will be that, okay, fine. When we borrow, it's going into sectors like agriculture, which is essential to provide food so that it reduces our importation. When we borrow, it will go into areas that will turn up to reduce our importation, which will further enhance or stabilize, our city. So if you are borrowing and then whatever you are going to use the money for is not building up directly into the economy to reduce your debt burdens, I would say it will be a dubious reasons for borrowing. So for me, the current, borrowing that has been approved by Parliament, I would say that it's not a genuine reason. And a genuine reason because we may have the numbers in Parliament approving it, but then it may not necessarily be that you have the numbers and that you are right. The numbers, you can have numbers, but then you get it wrong. The fact that it's democracy and you have the majority getting its support does not necessarily mean that it's a good thing. So for me, I think going into such a loan, it's uncalled for, and it's not something that we should look at as a country.
Maybe my final question to you, how do these new facilities add up to our debts?
Well, I presume that that's about $17 million. And if you look at our debt level and the quantums, and especially when you take up loans that are in dollars and looking at the depreciation of the city, obviously it's a significant add-up. So for me, whatever way you look at it, I would say it wasn't a loan to be, to be approved.
Professor Lord Mensah, I want to say a big thank you to you.